What's up, Fight House fans? We are back with episode 21 of the Fight House podcast. It is me, Jason Sutcliffe, with
Tristan Keddy.
And we got a goodie. Kenney's back, and he's getting ready to go on the Dana White Contender Series for the second time to take on Adam Antolin, see if he can get himself that contract. That's going to be in 2 weeks, week 8. Then we got Heinisch is going to come up second. He's going to talk about his fight with Markus Perez for the LFA middleweight title. Should be a goodie. And we'll close things out with Stephen Ocho Peterson, who's getting ready to take on Benito Lopez, week 7 of the Dana White Contender Series. So we got 3 goodies. Stay with us. You're going to love it. We'll be right back.
All right, all 3 judges give us a unanimous decision, 30-27. The winner, Casey.
What's up, Fight House fans? We're back with Kenney, who's coming off a big victory at the Contender Series week 2, and he's getting ready to make his return for week 8. What's going on, Casey? Thanks for joining us here on the show, man.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Pleasure to be back. Obviously stoked about coming back for week 8. Got a tough opponent, but looking to put on a show again.
Absolutely, man. How did this come about? How did your return to the show come about?
Obviously something happened with Antolin's first opponent, and then my manager texted me, I believe it was early August, and I was like, hey, you want to go again? And, it was a no-brainer for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready, dude. Let's do it.
You know what? This is going to be 3 almost back-to-back fights for you. How are you feeling as you're going through camp and stuff? How's your body feeling with the schedule you've been holding?
I got my normal bumps and bruises, but, man, I'm holding together pretty well. I'm young in the sport. I've been wanting to make a run like this, been trying to get going back-to-back fights. Maybe not this quick, but, kind of get on like a little bit higher pace of a schedule. Had some, problems with like the Tachi belt and all that stuff,
Sure.
As far as like keeping me super busy. But now it's I've been busy, and I can't be happier, man. I love stepping in the octagon and doing that, and it's my happy place. So staying active is I'm all for it.
Well, this is going to be number 4 for 2017, and we're only in August, so I'd say active is definitely what you're keeping. Do you want to get more fights in this year, or are you content with the 4 and see what's going on?
I wouldn't mind taking a little bit of a break, but, once I get that contract the 29th, if they need somebody to fill in or they schedule me for a fight, it'll be fight camp time. Obviously take a week or 2 and relax a little bit, but I'll be ready to go, when they call. I'm in fight mode right now, so I don't plan on changing anytime soon either.
How does the camp change when you're coming off a fight? Like, you only got 6 weeks. Is the pace a little bit different? Is it exactly the same? Like, how do you approach it?
Yeah, it's not so much like hard training. I'm already in shape from the last fight. Hit some sprints, hit some runs to kind of keep my cardio up, if not make it even better. And then just a lot of pad work, a lot of drills, keeping everything sharp. I'm still getting a few sparring rounds in, a few grappling rounds in, but, the load isn't as much, I guess, because
sure.
I only had like a week where I went, fat boy mode and pigged out, and then, I was right back into getting ready because I knew something like this would be popping up soon.
So is the weight no big issue for you?
Yeah, I cut a decent amount of weight, but I kept my weight down after this last fight, and I had honestly the best weight cut I've ever had my last fight, and kept my weight low. This one shouldn't be a problem either. I'm right on track as the last one.
You're coming off a really big win against a super tough guy in C.J. Hamilton. How did you feel about your performance overall in that fight? Were you happy with it?
I was. I got to showcase a lot of good, mixed martial arts. Really a little bit of everything. Some wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, all kinds of stuff. The only thing I was disappointed in is I kind of came out the gate maybe a little too strong. Maybe the whole atmosphere of the thing, kind of that adrenaline dump, happened in that first round and kind of affected me in the third round there. But I think I got that figured out now. It was definitely a different experience fighting at the tough gym. But it was a great one, man. I couldn't be happier.
And now when you're getting ready to step in there with Adam, how is this? What do you know about him as an opponent, and how do you feel like you match up?
I know he's going to come out, maybe switch some stances. He's a high-paced striker. Got some good kicks. Got to watch out for. Nothing that I really haven't seen before. I think I can dominate in the grappling aspect. Definitely in the takedown aspect. I know he's got some tricky submissions that I got to watch out for. But honestly, I think I go be a bully in this fight and, kind of big brother him, impose my will. And, I have a round like the last fight, that first round with C.J. Hamilton. I don't think Antolin survives that first round. That was a pretty vicious onslaught, and we kept a pretty good pace. So I don't think he survives that first round.
Definitely that was a great round, perfectly executed. Do you feel any more pressure to get a finish? Like, you see how Dana's kind of been picking the guys that are scoring these big finishes and stuff. Does that apply any pressure to you to get the finish?
Sorry about that. I lost you for a second.
Sorry, what I was saying is, what I said is that Dana seems to be siding, at least in the first 6 or 7 weeks anyway, with the people who are getting the finishes. They're going out there knocking people out and stuff. Does that have any added pressure to you when you go back to get a finish this time around?
Yeah, that's my fighting style. I'm looking for a finish. I'm coming off of 2 decisions, but man, those guys were close to being face first on the canvas, asleep. Both of them, Bruno and CJ. So it's only a matter of time before, those guys are face first on the canvas. I've only been striking for, 4 years now. Young to the striking aspect of mixed martial arts. And I think I'm doing pretty well with it.
Sure.
They're just hanging on by a thread. So I think those finishes are going to be coming. I don't really look to add any pressure to the fight to try to get that finish because that's my fighting style. That's what I'm trying to do in that fight that whole time, anyways. Being in front of Dana White's a little added pressure, but the second time around, it'll be a walk in the park.
Well, that's what my next question was: how different do you think your second trip back to the UFC gym will be for the Dana White Contender Series? What differences will there be, whether mentally or physically?
A little bit of both, mainly mentally. Just, beforehand I had no idea what to expect. It was just kind of, playing it by ear. They did a few things a little bit different. We didn't have any face-off. I didn't get to see CJ until we stepped in the octagon. I didn't actually get to step in that room that we fought in until I came through those doors. Normally you get a little walk around the cage beforehand type of thing. I don't know if they were trying to, add to the type of pressure to see how we dealt with it. But all of that was a little bit different. I know exactly what to expect now. When I got the call, I was stoked. Normally there's a little bit of like nervous energy that goes through your body when you get that call for a fight. Like, oh crap, man, am I ready? Especially the last time,
Sure.
That step up, and I've already passed that test, so I'm calm as can be for this one.
So knowing how you felt the first time around, and that's going to be Antolin's what he's going through this time. Do you feel like it'll be an advantage for you in the fight, being gone through that first fight and knowing kind of what to expect?
It could be. I'm not leaning towards it too much, just because he did spend a lot of time there with the Ultimate Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Actually more time than I've spent in that building.
Sure.
He was training there all the time. He was, he had I think 2 fights on the show there. So I may have a little bit of a experience as far as the Contender Series, but I'm sure he's comfortable in there as well. I think we're just gonna be 2 comfortable fighters, and going to see some great mixed martial arts.
Nice. One question I wanted to ask you just before this: you were on a 4-fight finishing streak before running into these 2 decisions, and being a guy that fights for the finish and having those 4, has it been frustrating for you to go to the judges twice?
A little bit. obviously, I want perfection every fight. I'm a perfectionist, especially when it comes to fighting. But I'm taking the good things from it. It has been a step up in competition. I really look at, I finished Cactac for the Tachi belt, but, that was my real first test as far as like a level up in competition, what I consider, UFC caliber type of guys. And, I obviously finished him. The next two, Bruno and CJ, I didn't finish them, but, man, like I said, I can think a couple times, especially Bruno, he was doing circles around the cage. I know close doesn't cut it in fighting, but, I'm hurting these guys. I'm hurting them bad. CJ was wobbled a few times there and not quite as bad as Bruno, but, with that head kick, a couple left hands, the knee. So it's exciting for me to not only be, hitting these strikes on guys, but guys at a high level, and I kind of expected that once I got to a high level, I would have to really like tone in and dial in my striking, especially being young to that.
Sure.
I can now grapple, I believe, anybody in the world, but the striking I'm really toning in on.
Where do you feel like you're going to have the biggest advantage in this fight over Adam? Where do you think that's going to come for you?
I think I can take him down about any time I want. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to come out and take him down right away, but if I had to pinpoint, a specific advantage, my takedown game, I believe, is, top notch in the world. And, I know Antolin's had some problems with some tough grapplers in the past, so I don't see him, having any problem throwing him on the mat anytime I want.
And what's your prediction for this fight, man? How do you see this fight ending?
Man, I'm going for the finish. Submission, knockout, some nasty ground and pound, doesn't matter. I'm making Dana give me that contract. I don't want any ifs, ands, or buts about it, at the end of the night. Coming back with, if I put on two good performances, there may be, I say I got a pretty good shot at a contract, but I want the finish, man. I don't want to leave any doubt.
Definitely. Listen, I want to thank you for giving us some of your time, man. I really look forward to seeing you come back to the show, and best of luck in securing that contract, brother.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me back, and always a pleasure. I'd love to come back anytime, man. So be talking to you guys soon.
Thanks a lot, brother. Hopefully we can talk after the fight. We'll set something up, bro.
Definitely, man. Have a good night.
You too. Have a great night. Later, Casey.
Bye.
Second kick at the can.
Yeah, remember we first had him on the show. He's coming off that split decision, that awful split decision
against Bruno. Yeah, that was bad.
So it's good if he wins. He'll turn it around.
Plus, you got to think even if they don't get picked up off the show, you have to think that if he goes in, you put in two really good performances. Like a victory over CJ Hamilton's huge.
Injuries happen all the time.
Like you got to think that even if it's a guy like Ton Lee, same thing. Like you didn't get the contract that night, but you have to think he's at the top of that list.
Yeah,
like
you're putting work in. It's going somewhere.
Right. Like when they're going to make that call, you got to think that's coming your way. Yeah. And plus he's in a good division, man. 125. They need depth. Something.
Just being on the show alone, you're putting yourself in Dana's good graces.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you come out and you really go for it. You fight. Like you don't necessarily have to get the finish, but you fought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You went out and fought.
Yeah. He did have a good fight.
He had a great fight. He had a great fight. He's a guy that he's in the right division. Like he deserves a shot. He hasn't lost. He's like 7-0-1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you go and you put in a victory here. Now you're 8. You're talking about you're getting up there. You're talking about you got a good record, a solid record. You come in a division.
Even if you don't get the contract, you have to be right at the top of that list.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be. He's a champion in another organization. He's undefeated. He's fighting back to back to back to back to back. So, I don't know. I can't see a way that a guy like that isn't sitting at the top of the list.
I agree.
So, anyway, I look forward to that fight. We'll see what happens. It's in a couple weeks, so we'll got a little bit of a waiting period, but it'll be here before we know it.
The 29th.
That's it. And next up, we have Ian Heinisch, who is getting ready to contend for the LFA middleweight belt against also undefeated fighter Markus Perez. And that is going to happen next month on the 8th, I believe, at LFA. What is it? 22. So we're really looking forward to that fight. We're going to have Ian Heinisch on board next. He's going to talk to us about the fight and what's coming up. Stay tuned. We're going to be back. Enjoy.
Slides the right knee up under the shoulder. See how tight that knee is? He hooks his hand inside his own thigh, feeds that bottom arm underneath. That is a vicious shoulder lock. You could destroy somebody's shoulder with that technique. Beautiful.
What's up, Fight House fans? We are back. We have Ian Heinisch on the line. He is getting ready to take on Markus Perez for the open middleweight LFA title. What's going on, Ian? Thanks for joining us here on the show, man.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. Glad to have you. How's everything been? How's training going?
Oh, training's going good. It's right on course, and just having such good training partners coming on January. They come for about a week or two. I had Jack Cummings come in, who just jiu-jitsu is unreal, and now we got Anthony Smith just arrived yesterday, and so we're just he's getting ready for his fight against Hector Lombard.
Yep.
And we've just been getting some good training, and just healthy, feeling ready to make a statement.
Definitely, man. Definitely. What's your excitement levels heading into a fight like this after you see like a guy like Eric Anders gets the title and gets his immediate shot in the UFC pretty much weeks later? How are you feeling heading in? Like this is your shot, kinda?
Oh yeah, it's definitely my shot, and it just motivates me to see that. And congrats to him and his performance. But I'm probably going to be fighting him real soon when I get in the UFC. I'm predicting that, and it'll be a great fight. And but it's just awesome. I'm seeing all these guys on the Contender Series getting signed, a few middleweights, with way less records than me. So it's just all motivation, good for them. And this is my time, and I'm going to prove and get what's rightfully mine. And the real journey begins once I sign on the dotted line for the UFC.
Absolutely. You talked about the Dana White Contender Series. I was just curious. Did they contact you at all about competing on that show?
We kind of, no one really knew what it was when it came out, and I heard a little bit. I just know managing was committed, but it was a little late. I had this fight coming up with LFA, so
yeah,
it could have been good, but I'm in a really good position right now. So
definitely,
it's all good, and I'm excited for this matchup. Excited to be main event in my hometown of Denver.
Nice.
And it's going to be fireworks, and I'm going to. He's coming up to altitude for a 5-round fight. He's not going to go that long, but, he's got some balls, and I give that to him, and I'm excited for it.
Let me ask you, man, does there ever come moments in your day when you're sitting back and you're like, it wasn't that long ago I was sitting in a jail cell in the middle of Europe somewhere, or, I was getting shipped back over here to sit in a jail cell in New York, or I was getting arrested. Do those thoughts ever hit you, and then you sit where you are now and just think, like, wow? Like, do you ever have those moments throughout the day?
Oh, man, definitely, all the time. And, the longer that I've been through it starts to go away. But I like to relive it, because it's kind of, I feel like it sharpens my blade. Sometimes it gets dull.
Yeah.
Not often, but I just need to relive that. And just, it's just the feeling of straight gratitude comes to me. Just all the great things that I've accomplished, and just where I'm at in my support group. And it's just amazing.
Definitely. Speaking of the fight itself, what do you know about Markus? He's another guy. He's same as you, 8-0. What do you know about him stylistically, and how do you feel about the fight?
Oh, I feel great for it. He switches stance back and forth. I think he thinks he's a striker, but so did the last Brazilian I fought. We'll see how that went. But he didn't impress me.
Sorry, you're breaking up on me, Ian. Sorry, you broke up on me there. You said he doesn't.
Hello?
Yeah. He doesn't. That's what I heard.
Now?
Yeah, I can hear you, bud.
Oh, so I just said, he thinks he's a kickboxer, he's a striker, but so does the last Brazilian. And his jiu-jitsu, I'm not really impressed, and definitely have him on the American wrestling. So,
where do you feel like your biggest advantage is when you face him?
Oh, I'm going to strike with him. I'm going to hit him, and if I get him to the ground, he's going to be in deep water quick. So his best thing is to stay on the feet. But my striking has improved so much, and I still am not the good one. So I feel like I have an advantage over anywhere.
You know, a big part of the fight game, you always hear people talking about the mental. How big is it a factor for you that, like, you've been in places that are much tougher, much scarier, you know what I mean, that per se than a cage or you know, these different situations that are, do you feel like calmness when you go to fight because you've been through way worse?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's, you know, just watching the teammates and other fighters, and you see how good they can perform in the gym. But then when the lights turn on and the pressure's on them and all these things add up, you know, you can see some of them not perform at the best. And that's where I feel so calm and I feel so good. I know my abilities, I know my destiny, and I know I'm here for a purpose, and I know it's all in God's hands. So I just give it all up to the sky pretty much, and just go out there and do what I do and do what I'm born to do. And I just go in that mentality like, I could die, but this is my destiny. So whatever happens, happens.
How do you see this fight ending? First of all, I'll ask you that first. How do you see this fight finishing?
You know, I think my shin might connect with his face, or and just draw. And it's either going to be knockout or submission. If I get on top, there's so many ways it could end. Man, it's honestly, I could get a TKO, I could get a knockout on the feet, I could get a submission. And I'm sure he's going to put up a fight for a little bit, but just I'm so good at taking people when they're not comfortable and dictating the fight. So it's my fight, and they're on their toes, worrying about me. So that's what I'm good at. That's what I'm going to do. Nothing's changed as far as my strategy. I do exactly what I do, go in there and I take care of business.
Definitely. You know, I had Brendan Allen on the show last week, and I asked Brendan Allen what he thought of the title fight coming up. And he said basically like he wasn't overly impressed, and essentially said that if you do win the title, you better hope that the UFC comes and takes you before you have a chance to fight him. What do you think when you hear that kind of comment? Do you watch Brendan Allen? Are you aware? Like, what's your thoughts?
Oh, well, he can join me in the UFC if he thinks he's that good. Because I'm moving on, and he's a small fish. He's a young guy. I don't know much about him. I know he had a hard time with Chris Harris. And, you know, I'm on a different level, and he needs to realize that. And just because he thinks he got ranked above me or something, I'm on a different level. So, and it's cool. Just like I called out Eric Anders, and he went to the UFC, and now I have to prove myself and get to the UFC if I want to start against him. So, good luck to him.
Are these guys that you put on a list? Like, do you have like a list in your head where like some people say some things that you catch maybe online or on social media? It's like, okay, I'll run into you down the road, because it's the second time you said about running into Eric Anders in the UFC. So I feel like it's something that you have on your list of things to do. Are you that kind of a guy? Do you just put it aside and just save it for later?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of who's the next body in my way that I need to go right through to get to my final destination. And, you know, there's a few guys that definitely have my eye on, and I'm just kind of picking them apart already, the weaknesses, and just feeling them on. We're just learning about them. And, yeah, I mean, he could be added to the list. You know, it's definitely a mental list in my head who's coming.
How much of a student of the game are you? You talk about looking at people and kind of breaking down their styles. Is that something that you do often? Are you a real student like that when it comes to the people in your division?
Yeah, you know, I don't watch every guy. I just watch the important ones that I know are coming up. I don't, but I mean, I love watching LFA events. I love watching UFC events, and you know, I go to a lot of local shows here. So I'm a student of the game. I'm learning every day, and I'm watching high level guys, lower level guys, and just adapting, because that's what the sport's all about. We're just adapting our style every day. So yeah, I'm a student for sure.
You know, the last a couple of seconds ago, you mentioned that Brendan Allen being ranked ahead of you, and I'm assuming that you're talking about the Flow Combat under 30 prospect rankings, correct? Yeah. How did you feel when you looked at those rankings? I have a feeling it brushed you the wrong way.
You know, it is what it is, man. Rankings don't mean much. So you're gonna say you're better than me. I'm gonna say I'm better than you, but then we get in the cage and we prove who is the batter. So I don't need to say much about it. It's all good. We'll see who's in the UFC first.
Sweet. Listen, man, I wish you all the luck in the world in the fight. I'm really, really looking forward to it, man. I love your style. I love watching you perform. And I really want to thank you for giving us some of your time. I know things are getting heated up for you, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone who's listening, and check me out. I'll be taking the belt home to Colorado September 8th, LFA, and it's going to be a great card, and I'm gonna deliver on the main event.
Sweet. Listen, actually, if you want to take 30 seconds, man, you got any sponsors or anything you want to shout out while you're on the air?
Yeah, definitely.
Go for it.
I would like to first off, my gym factory, that's the strength conditioning, land out performance, the Centra, Illegal Peace, Outdoor Landscaping, Other Auto, Northern Climate Control, Altitude SEO, Caveman Chef, Thunder Smith Recovery, Rob Loader, in the Tire Blue Shop, and the Courthouse. And my manager, Jim Walters, and Five Star Management.
Sweet, man. Listen, thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it, brother, and good luck with your training. Better luck in the fight.
All right, thank you. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, brother. Take care. That dude's a beast.
Yeah.
Man, the fact that we never got to see yet him fight with either Giles or Anders just upsets me. Stylistically, especially Anders. He's a big, strong, explosive dude who's coming from a rugged place.
Yeah, that's the thing with the LFA. The production value is so good that you want to watch it and you get into these fighters, but then they have to move on, But at the same time, you're like, oh, I wish I kind of seen them grow in this,
Well, you know what it is too. You're like, we're MMA fans. We're not UFC fans. There's a big difference, right? Like for instance, we watched Eric Anders go to a 5-round war with Brendan Allen, and then 3 weeks later come out and just starch Nadal in the first round. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you start to realize, once you get into a position where you're watching these other promotions and you're not just drinking the UFC Kool-Aid, even though they clearly are still the top promotion. You start to realize that it's not necessarily meaning all the best fighters are there.
Yeah, there's still guys that haven't got their chance yet.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, could maybe Brendan Allen beat Natal? I think he could. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Not necessarily because the MMA math doesn't always work.
It's definitely a competitive matchup for sure.
Right. Yeah. Right. And there's so many like Ian Heinisch. I think Ian Heinisch will rip through half the middleweight division at least without a problem. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it goes. He's got a tough fight up on his hands. Markus Perez is a savage too.
Not a lot of videos online to study either. He hasn't really I don't know where the last fight was, but Arzulet fighting one. But he's got a good record, and he's a Gracie guy too. So,
but I feel like Heinisch is going to be too strong, too athletic. But we'll see. We're going to see what happens. Man, we're going to be back with one of my favorite people in this game, man. Steven Peterson, Ocho, if you will. He's getting his crack next week on the Dana White Contender Series. Really can't wait to see that fight. If there's ever anyone who is a fighter, a grinder, that just fights and all hard, chin. Just crazy grind he's on, just all hard work. It's that guy, and I really, really hope to see that guy get his shot, but we're going to see what happens. That's coming up Tuesday, but before that, we're going to have him on this show in about 5 minutes, not even a couple seconds, so stay with us. I forgot about editing. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Steven Ocho Peterson met Ryan Hollis, and this was all Peterson.
Yeah, he showed that he's much stronger, gained position, controlled Ryan Hollis. Ryan Hollis just got out-muscled in this fight, in my mind. Ryan not able to deal with the power and the technique here, and Peterson eventually flattening him out and securing this choke.
What's up, Fight House fans? We are back with Steven Ocho Peterson getting ready to do Dana White Contender Series Week 7. What's up, Ocho? Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome back.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, man. How's everything been? How's training? How's everything going?
Man, training's never been better. I'm just coming off a good win and didn't take a day off. Just right back in the gym, got the call, and on to the next one.
Absolutely. How did you feel about your fight against Hollis, man?
I felt like it went the way it should have went. Hollis was real tough. He's hard to finish. He's not a quitter. So, I went in there and did what an A-level fighter is supposed to do against a B-level fighter. You go in there, you dominate, and you finish every time.
Absolutely. Well, and now you got your crack. You're getting ready to compete on the Dana White Contender Series, Week 7. You're going to be up against Benito Lopez, undefeated fighter. How do you feel about the fight, man?
I feel like it's a great matchup for me. Benito's tough. He's got some great offense, but he's never been tested. He's fought, I wouldn't say easy fights, but not the level of competition that I've faced in my career, and he's definitely never faced anybody near the level that I'm on.
How much of a factor do you feel like your experience in the cage is going to play in this fight?
Oh, it's going to be a huge factor. He hasn't had any real big fights. He's stayed below the radar. All of my fights have been big fights. I've always fought the toughest competition that they'll put me in there with, and that's prepared me for this opportunity. All that is just a good experience for me to be prepared whenever the call came, and now the call's here. It's my opportunity to go knock on the door of the UFC, and I'm going to kick that bitch down.
Definitely. Do you feel like this is the perfect time for you in your career? I mean, you got good things going on at Fortis. Things are really coming together there. You got a solid team. You're coming off a big win. You've changed things up. You moved to a different division now. How do you feel? Do you feel like this is the perfect time for you?
Yeah, definitely. This is the optimal time for me to make my showing. I've learned a lot of lessons throughout my career. Where a lot of fighters, they get to the UFC and they haven't gone through those type of lessons. And all my losses have been good learning lessons, and I've improved from each and every one of them. And every time I step in the cage, you see a more polished Stephen Ocho Peterson.
Since the Higo fight, do you think you developed more physically or mentally in the game? Has it been more of a mental growth or a physical growth for you?
Much more physical. I've always had that mental edge. Ever since the beginning of my career, I'm a mental giant. That's where I thrive, is just my mentality. But since the Higo fight, it was really just a learning experience to kind of expose some of my holes in my game. And I wasn't finished in that fight, but it showed me a couple things that I needed to go back and work on. Mm-hmm. And it's been 7-8 months since that fight, and I've been working since. I healed up from that fight and got right back to work on my holes, been closing those gaps, and I can't wait to show what I've been working on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. How do you feel nerve-wise going in there? You're gonna compete in front of Dana. There's not gonna be a huge crowd. It's more of a gym feel. How are your nerves heading into a situation like that, knowing that this is such a huge fight?
I've never really had much of an issue with nerves. I don't really feel a whole lot of nervousness. I'm just excited, ready to go in there and, show Dana what he's been missing out on, what I'm capable of, and, what I can bring to the division.
It's a funny thing. We talked a while back, and we were talking about your career, and you were talking about Angel Huerta, and you had said that when you guys were supposed to fight the first time, he backed out of the fight, and your career kind of went in like this other path that you weren't necessarily happy with, and you wanted your revenge. So there you were about to fight Angel Huerta again. This time he backs out again. Right. Now you end up beating Ryan Hollis. Now you're going to the Dana White Contender Series. It's not Bellator. Now it's the Contender Series. So you have this other kind of pinnacle moment in your career. Is it kind of funny to you that it's come off the back of like Angel Huerta kind of twice and you've still never fought him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to speak about him. This is about me right now.
Of course.
But that time, my career went off in a different path. I didn't get the legacy title fight, but everything happens for a reason. Sure. And I truly believe that. That caused me to, take some tougher fights, not get the title fight. And, I had some losses and learned a lot of lessons. This time when he backed out, thank God Ryan Hollis stepped up, and I was able to go in there, dominate, and show how dominant I can be against a B-level fighter. And the UFC's got plenty of B-level fighters that I can dominate just like that. So yeah, I mean, everything happens for a reason. I'm glad this happened, and now it's taking me in a whole different direction. I'm going on the Contender Series, and I'm going to show Dana what I can do, and hopefully, get that contract and take out all the B-level fighters in the UFC, make my way to the top 10, and make my way to the top 10 and get that belt.
Definitely. You know, you went up to featherweight for your last fight. You're going to be back down to bantamweight, correct, for this one? This one's at bantamweight, correct?
Yeah, they took me back down to bantamweight. And I actually had to fight Hollis at a catchweight at 140.
Oh, that's right.
Kind of sucked. It sucked last minute, you know, but I think it really prepared me for this opportunity because I didn't blow up. I didn't put on any weight after the fight. Didn't take any damage, so I got right back in the gym, stayed ready, kept my weight down, and then cutting an extra 5 pounds this time. It's not going to be the end of the world. I'll be just fine at finding a bantamweight again and ready to go in there and smash.
Definitely, man. Do you feel like this this quick turnaround is more beneficial to you than necessarily maybe you had been on the shelf? Maybe Hollis doesn't take the fight. You're sitting on the shelf since the Higo fight. Do you feel like a more benefit from the quick turnaround?
Yeah, definitely. It was a good experience. It kept me busy and kept me in shape. Confidence is through the roof coming off a win instead of that Higo loss.
Yep.
So yeah, I like the quick turnarounds. As long as I don't take any damage in the fight, then I'm ready to get right back in there.
You know, Dana White in the first 6 weeks, he's clearly shown more preference to the knockout fighters. You know, he's been signing the guys that have put up the big knockouts. Your style is tailor made for this show. Like you're all aggressive, you know, balls to the walls kind of guy. Do you feel good about going into this show knowing that it's kind of suited to your style?
Yeah, I feel like this show was made for me, or fighters like me. Basically, he's not looking for lower level UFC fighters or bottom feeders. He's looking for guys that can make a crack at the top 10, be exciting, be marketable. I'm all of these things. This is my tryout, and I'm gonna shock the world next Tuesday.
Absolutely, man. You know, how do you see this fight ending? I guess I should ask you that. How do you visualize this fight? How do you see it going?
Likely a TKO round two. Round two. Benito's just never faced a type of fighter with the grit that I have. I'm gonna break him. He's gonna, once he's hit with all that adversity in that moment. He's never had a big moment, a big fight like this. I've had tons of title fights, tons of main event type fights. The big moment is nothing new to me. Of course, this is the biggest moment, but I'm well prepared for it. And he's just a kid, man. He's 23. He's like where I was, 4 years ago. He's got a lot of growing up to do, and I'm going to show him.
Absolutely. Where do you how big of a moment is you to fight in front of Dana? These big name guys, they're going to be sitting there. Does that give you any motivation? I know you're not big on the nerves, but does it give you like that little extra, like, yeah, it's time? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's time to pull out all the stops. I ain't holding back one bit. It ain't the type of fight where you just go in there and you grind out a 3-round, decision type deal. No, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to bring violence. And Dana White's going to love what he sees. He's going to be jaw dropped by the time I get done with Benito.
Listen, man, I want to say that we've been talking about this, and I hope – I've been saying to the producer here, Tristan, I was like, I hope you get this, man. You're a guy whose fight style is it's a fan-friendly style, to say the least. That's to put it politely. I hope you get your shot, man. I really hope you get the contract. I hope you can earn that. You've always been cool with us. I really appreciate your time, and best of luck in the fight, brother.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Jason. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get that contract. Mark my words.
You do that, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Best of luck. We'll be tuned in.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Take it easy, brother. Later. Ocho. Man, he looks pumped. He looks good. He looks lean. He looks happy. He looks in a good place.
He's like he's not a point fighter, that's one way to put it.
He's what I like to call it, to the point fighter.
Yeah, his chin, it just allows him to keep moving forward, and hopefully he'll be able to just show Dana that he can put the damage in too.
He said it dead on when he said that he's a mental giant.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a perfect way.
Yeah, just like Gaethje, same kind of guy. It's just like he just keeps moving forward. What are you gonna do when the guy's not gonna stop?
He's like, oh, you're not gonna break me.
Yeah.
Like, you will not. Like, if Higo couldn't break him with that fight, the way that fight went, you know what I mean? To me, it's like, those fights happen and the guy takes a beating, but somehow like he leaves there, and like even though he lost, it's like he's the winner kind of in that fight. Like
it's who you remembered.
You're just like,
yeah,
that's a whole different kind of tough.
Yeah,
this guy's tough.
And the last time he was on the podcast, he was talking about how he was working, trying to be more elusive, head movement, all that kind of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how far he's improved. And I'm excited for sure.
I'm super looking forward to the fight, man. I genuinely do hope that he gets the contract. He's a guy that we need to see these people at 135, man.
Yeah, it's true.
We need depth there. We need those characters, those guys that are going to go to war.
Yeah, we have the high. You have the high. He was saying the guys who can crack the top 10 like in one night, just have put on one crazy performance, and all of a sudden he's in that picture.
Yeah,
we had the top echelon of the division, right? But the top 3 right now, but it still gets a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you get Jimmy Rivera there too. You got like 4 or 5, but it's like after the 5, it kind of gets a little different. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's to say it nicely.
And he was the inaugural Skype for our show.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I follow Ocho on social media. We've had lots of conversations. He's a super great guy. If you follow him on social media, you'll see the guy's just a grind. Like he just grinds nonstop. Everything he posts is at the gym, and it's just work. You know what I mean? So you like to see guys like that get rewarded, man. Like this guy's putting in work. You know what I mean? So if you're putting in that kind of work, it's good. And he's got a serious camp, man. He's over there with Damon Jackson. They got Rashad Coulter, Spans over there. Yeah. They got a slew of dudes over there, real tough. It's real tough.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't put a really good impression. At the very least, he'll be in Dana's good graces after this. He's going to leave it all out there.
He will 100%. I mean, barring in any fight, like barring he doesn't get knocked out in a minute or something, like, which I doubt. I highly doubt, but anything could happen. But I doubt that very much. He's gonna impress Dana regardless. Like, there's no way that Dana's not gonna be like, whoa, because he's just pure violence. It's a crazy thing to watch.
Sure.
But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good fight. It's going to be a good week, and I genuinely do hope that he gets his contract. It's been a really great show that we've had popping. We had 3 great guests today. What can I say? It was a little bit shorter than we usually do, but it was good.
We had some 8, 9 guests.
Yeah,
it's nice to have a little bit of a.
Well, we try to see what works best, right? So this week, we brought in 3 really good ones. Ian Heinisch, we brought in he's a UFC bound. I have no doubt in my mind that he's UFC bound. Steven Peterson, 0 doubt that he is UFC bound.
Casey Kenney getting a second shot.
Casey Kenney, and he's another one, man. I'm glad that they're not competing on the same week. Who do I? Casey Kenney's got a second crack. Tough guy. You got to think even with a win, he's there. Like, he's on that short list of guys that are getting that phone call.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So, those are 3 great guests. Another great week, and we thank everyone for joining us and tuning in. And it's me, Jason Sutcliffe, with
Tristan Keddy,
and this has been episode 21. And we're going to be back next week with a slew of new great guests. And stay with us. We'll be doing this Skype thing from now on. Enjoy.